Watch the hidden $500 monthly leak in your budget. You sit down one Sunday afternoon with your bank statement and a cup of coffee, determined to finally figure out where your money goes. Your salary is decent. You're not living extravagantly. You don't buy designer clothes or eat out every night. And yet, somehow, every month ends with basically nothing left over. Maybe a couple $100 if you're lucky. Sometimes less. You scroll through the transactions: rent, utilities, groceries, gas, the usual stuff. Everything looks normal. Nothing jumps out as obviously wrong. But the math doesn't lie. You make, let's say, $5,000 a month after taxes. Your rent is $1,500. Your car payment is $350. Insurance, groceries, phone bill, all the standard expenses add up to maybe $3,000, which means you should have $2,000 left over. But you don't. You have maybe $200. Where did the other $1,800 go? My name is Jack, and I spend way too much time thinking about personal finance, spending psychology, and why people who make good money somehow never feel like they have any. And here's what fascinates me. Most people think they have a budget problem, but what they actually have is a visibility problem. The money isn't disappearing into some black hole. It's leaking out through dozens of tiny holes that are so small individually that you don't notice them, but collectively they're draining hundreds of dollars every single month. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts, except instead of paper, it's subscriptions you forgot about, convenience purchases that seem harmless, and lifestyle inflation that happens so gradually you didn't even realize it was happening. What you're about to discover isn't going to be some revolutionary budgeting app or extreme frugality challenge. This is about understanding the psychological tricks your brain plays on you that make money disappear, and more importantly, how to plug those leaks without feeling like you're depriving yourself of everything that makes life enjoyable. Because the truth is, most people could find $500 in monthly savings without changing their lifestyle in any meaningful way. They just need to know where to look. The subscription graveyard. Let's start with the most obvious leak that somehow still catches everyone: subscriptions. And I don't just mean Netflix and Spotify, I mean the subscription graveyard. All those services you signed up for months or years ago that are still quietly pulling money from your account every month. You probably signed up for a free trial of something. Maybe it was a meditation app or a cloud storage service or some productivity tool you were excited about. You entered your credit card info because it's just a trial, and then you forgot to cancel before the trial ended. Now it's $9.99 a month. Doesn't sound like much, right? But you're not using it. You haven't opened that app in 6 months. It's just sitting there, billing you automatically, and you don't notice because it's not enough money to trigger your attention. Then there's the gym membership you got in January during that wave of New Year's motivation. You went for 3 weeks. It's now August, and you haven't been back since February, but you're still paying $45 a month because canceling requires going in person or calling during business hours, and you keep telling yourself you'll do it next week. Next week becomes next month, becomes 6 months of paying for a service you're not using. Streaming services are another one. You've got Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, maybe HBO Max or Paramount Plus. That's easily $60 to $80 a month right there. And here's the thing. Do you actually watch all of them regularly? Or did you sign up for Disney Plus to watch one specific show, finish it, and then just never cancel? Because the subscription model is brilliant from a business perspective. They make it incredibly easy to sign up and incredibly friction-filled to cancel. They're betting on your inertia, and honestly, they usually win. I did an audit of my own subscriptions last year and found $140 in monthly charges for services I either forgot existed or hadn't used in months. A language learning app I signed up for and used twice. A premium version of a note-taking app I didn't need. Cloud storage I wasn't using. A news subscription I meant to cancel after the election. It was embarrassing, honestly. That's $1,680 a year just evaporating because I couldn't be bothered to spend 20 minutes canceling things. The fix is simple but requires actual effort. Go through your credit card and bank statements for the last 3 months. Highlight every recurring charge. Ask yourself, have I used this in the last month? Will I definitely use it next month? If the answer is no to either question, cancel it. Not next week. Right now. Pull up your phone and do it while you're thinking about it, because if you don't do it immediately, you won't do it at all. And in 6 months, you'll be having this exact same realization again. The convenience tax you're paying without realizing it. Here's a leak that's way more insidious because it doesn't look like waste, it looks like efficiency. I'm talking about the convenience tax, all the extra money you pay for the privilege of saving time or effort. Food delivery apps are the perfect example. You order dinner through DoorDash or Uber Eats because you don't feel like cooking. The meal itself is $15, but then there's a delivery fee, a service fee, a small order fee if you're under the minimum, and you tip the driver because you're not a monster. Suddenly, that $15 meal costs $27. You do this maybe 3 or 4 times a week because it's easy and you're tired after work. That's an extra $200 to $300 a month just in delivery fees and markups. Or coffee. You stop at Starbucks every morning because making coffee at home requires waking up 10 minutes earlier and you're already running late. $5.50 every workday is $110 a month. Over a year, that's $1,320 spent on the convenience of not brewing coffee in your own kitchen. I'm not saying never buy coffee. I buy coffee, I get it. But when it becomes a daily automatic habit that you don't even think about, it's a leak. Then there's the premium versions of everything. You pay for Amazon Prime because free shipping is worth it, right? Except Amazon Prime costs $139 a year, and if you actually tracked how much you save on shipping versus how much you spend on impulse purchases because shipping is free, you might discover you're not coming out ahead. The convenience of 2-day shipping has a hidden cost. You buy more stuff. Grocery delivery is another one. You pay $10 to $15 for someone to shop and deliver your groceries because going to the store is annoying. Fair enough, but you probably also pay higher prices than in-store, and you definitely buy more because scrolling through an app and clicking Add to Cart doesn't feel like spending money the way physically putting items in a cart does. It's frictionless, which is great for convenience and terrible for your budget. I'm not here to tell you that all convenience is bad. Sometimes it's worth paying extra because your time and energy are valuable. But the question you need to ask is, am I consciously choosing to pay for convenience, or is it just happening by default? Because when it's happening by default, when you're not even aware you're making the choice, that's a leak. The fix. Track your convenience spending for 1 month. Every delivery fee, every service charge, every premium option you pay for. Add it up at the end of the month and ask yourself if it was worth it. Sometimes the answer will be yes, but I'm willing to bet that at least half of it will be stuff you could easily do yourself if you just planned slightly better or adjusted your routine. Lifestyle inflation that sneaks up on you. This one is brutal because it happens so slowly that you don't notice until it's too late. You get a raise, maybe it's $500 more a month. You tell yourself you're going to save that money or use it to pay off debt. And for the first month, maybe you do. But then you start making tiny adjustments. You upgrade your apartment to a slightly nicer place because you can afford the extra $200 in rent now. You buy better groceries, organic stuff, nicer cuts of meat, fancy cheese. You start going out to dinner more often because you have a little more financial breathing room. You upgrade your car, you buy nicer clothes. None of these individual changes feel significant. Each one is justifiable. You deserve nice things, right? You worked hard for that raise. But here's what happens. 6 months later, you're spending that entire $500 raise and then some. Your lifestyle expanded to match your income, and you're in the exact same financial position you were before the raise. Same amount in savings. Same stress about money. You make more, but you don't have more. This is lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the biggest wealth killers out there. Because every time your income goes up, if your spending goes up by the same amount, you never make progress. You just exist at a higher price point with the same level of financial stress. I did this when I got my first real raise. I was making $55,000, then got bumped to $65,000. I immediately upgraded my apartment from $900 to $1,200 because I could afford it. Started eating out more, bought a nicer laptop, subscribed to more services, and within a year I was back to living paycheck to paycheck, just at a higher income level. The raise didn't change my financial life at all because I absorbed it entirely into spending. The really insidious part is that once you inflate your lifestyle, it's incredibly hard to deflate it. That nicer apartment becomes your baseline. Those nicer groceries become what you're used to. Going back feels like a downgrade, like you're moving backwards in life. So you stay stuck at this higher spending level, even if your income drops or you realize you're not building wealth. The fix is something called the save half, spend half rule. Whenever you get a raise, save or invest at least 50% of the increase before you even see it. Put it straight into your 401k or an automatic transfer to savings. You can enjoy the other 50% through lifestyle upgrades, but you're also making real financial progress. This way, your quality of life improves without completely sabotaging your wealth building. The social spending you can't say no to. Let's talk about something that's really uncomfortable but absolutely necessary: social spending. The money you spend because of social pressure, FOMO, or the desire to maintain relationships. Your friend group decides to go to a nice restaurant. The entrees are $30 plus drinks plus tip, and your share of the bill is $70. You weren't planning to spend that much. You could have eaten at home for $8. But everyone else is going, and if you say, I can't afford it, it's awkward. So you go. You put it on your credit card and tell yourself you'll deal with it later. Or weddings. Your coworker is getting married. You're invited. You need to buy a gift, which is $100 minimum. If it's a destination wedding or even just out of town, there's travel costs, hotel, maybe a new outfit. Suddenly, one wedding costs you $500. If you go to 3 weddings in a year, not uncommon in your late 20s or early 30s, that's $1,500. Birthdays, baby showers, bachelor parties, housewarming parties, every single one comes with an expected financial contribution. And individually, they're all fine. You want to celebrate your friends, you want to be generous. But collectively, it's hundreds of dollars every month that you didn't budget for because they feel like one-time expenses, except they're not. They're constant. Then there's the keeping up with friends spending. Your friends all have nice cars, so you feel pressure to upgrade yours. They take expensive vacations, so you book trips you can't really afford because you don't want to be the one who never goes anywhere. They wear nice clothes, eat at trendy restaurants, live in nice apartments. And there's this subtle pressure to match their lifestyle even if you make less money or have different financial priorities. I have a friend who makes probably $80,000 a year, but her social circle is people who make $150,000 plus. She's constantly stressed about money because she's trying to keep up. She goes to the same restaurants, takes similar vacations, buys similar clothes. And she's drowning in credit card debt because her income can't support the lifestyle her friend group has normalized. But she can't say no because she doesn't want to be excluded or judged. The fix is probably the hardest one on this list. You need to get comfortable disappointing people. You need to be able to say, I can't afford that right now without shame. You need to suggest cheaper alternatives or just bow out of expensive plans without feeling guilty. Your real friends will understand. The ones who don't aren't friends you can afford, literally and figuratively. And here's a secret. A lot of the people doing the expensive stuff can't afford it either. They're on credit cards, dipping into savings, stressed about money. Everyone's pretending they're fine while quietly panicking about their bank balance. If you're honest about your limits, you might be surprised how many people are relieved that someone finally said it. The Amazon problem. We need to talk about Amazon and Target and online shopping in general, because this is where money disappears in the most invisible way possible. You need laundry detergent. You're on Amazon anyway, so you add it to your cart. But the order is only $18 and you need $25 for free shipping. So you browse around. Oh, that kitchen gadget looks useful. Add to cart. These phone accessories are cheap. Add to cart. A book you've been meaning to read? Add to cart. Now you're at $47. You check out feeling good because you saved on shipping. Except you didn't need any of that other stuff. You spent an extra $29 to avoid a $6 shipping fee. Amazon won, you lost. This happens constantly. You go to Target for shampoo and leave with $80 worth of stuff because you walked through the home goods section and everything was cute and affordable. You browse Instagram, see a targeted ad for something you didn't know existed 5 minutes ago, and suddenly you need it. You're scrolling TikTok and someone shows a product that solves a problem you didn't know you had. Buy now. The average American spends about $1,400 a year on impulse purchases. That's $117 a month. And a huge percentage of that is online shopping because online shopping is designed to be frictionless. One-click purchasing. Saved payment info. Recommendations based on what you looked at. Email reminders about items in your cart. It's all designed to convert browsing into buying with as little resistance as possible. I tracked my Amazon spending for 1 year and was horrified to discover I spent $2,300. Not on big items, on stupid little things that seemed cheap individually but added up to absurd amounts. Charging cables I didn't need, books I didn't read, kitchen tools I used once. All of it felt justified in the moment. None of it mattered 3 months later. The fix: delete your saved payment information from shopping sites. Make it so you have to manually enter your credit card every single time. That tiny bit of friction, having to stand up, get your wallet, type in the numbers, is often enough to make you pause and ask, do I actually need this? And if you do still want it, make yourself wait 48 hours before buying. Most impulse purchases lose their appeal if you just give them a day to breathe. The invisible fees that add up. Let's talk about fees. Not the obvious ones like overdraft fees, though those are terrible too. I'm talking about the small, barely noticeable fees that are so normalized, you don't even question them anymore. ATM fees. You need cash, there's no bank nearby, so you use a random ATM that charges $3.50. The fee is annoying, but whatever, you need the money. Except you do this twice a week. That's $28 a month, $336 a year, just for accessing your own money. Credit card interest. You carry a balance of $2,000 at 19% APR because you tell yourself you'll pay it off soon. The minimum payment is manageable, but you're paying $32 a month in interest alone. And if you only make minimum payments, you're paying that interest for years. Late fees. You forget to pay a bill on time, not because you don't have the money, just because you forgot or got busy. That's a $35 late fee. Happens 3 times a year and you've lost $105 to pure forgetfulness. Bank fees. Monthly maintenance fees because you didn't maintain the minimum balance. Paper statement fees. Wire transfer fees. Foreign transaction fees when you travel. Each one is small. Each one feels unavoidable. Together, they're probably costing you $30 to $50 a month. Convenience fees for paying bills online. Ticketing fees when you buy concert or event tickets. You're already paying $80 for the ticket, but after fees, it's $102. Shipping fees on online orders. Processing fees. Service fees. Fees on top of fees. The average American pays about $300 to $400 per year in unnecessary fees. And the cruel part is that these fees disproportionately affect people who have less money. Overdraft fees hit people who are already struggling. Interest charges accumulate on people who can't pay off their balance. It's expensive to be poor. The fix: automate everything you can to avoid late fees. Set up bill autopay. Use a bank that doesn't charge monthly fees. There are plenty of good online banks with no fees at all. Keep a small emergency cash fund so you never need to use random ATMs. Pay off credit cards in full every month if possible, or at least pay more than the minimum. What this all means. So let's add this up. Subscriptions you don't use, $50. Delivery fees and convenience charges, $150. Lifestyle inflation on rent, food, and random upgrades, $150. Social spending you can't say no to, $100. Impulse online shopping, $75. Unnecessary fees, $40. That's $565 a month disappearing without providing any real value to your life. That's $6,780 a year. Over a decade, that's $67,800, and that's not even accounting for what that money could have been worth if you'd invested it. The crazy thing is that none of these individual leaks feel significant enough to fix. It's just $10 here, $30 there, but that's exactly why they're so destructive. They're small enough to ignore and large enough to matter. And here's what really gets me. Fixing these leaks doesn't require earning more money. It doesn't require some huge lifestyle sacrifice. It just requires paying attention. Being intentional. Making conscious choices instead of operating on autopilot. Most people's financial stress isn't because they don't earn enough. It's because they're bleeding money in 100 small ways they're not aware of. And once you plug those leaks, suddenly you have breathing room. Suddenly you can save. Suddenly you're not living paycheck to paycheck even though your income hasn't changed at all. Your money isn't disappearing into a black hole. It's leaking through holes you can see if you just look. And once you see them, you can plug them. You can redirect that $500 a month toward things that actually matter. Building an emergency fund, paying off debt, investing for the future, or spending on things you genuinely value instead of stuff you don't even notice. The path to financial stability isn't about making more money or becoming some extreme minimalist. It's about knowing where your money goes and making sure it's going to things you actually care about. That's it. That's the whole game. And the first step is just seeing the leaks clearly. Once you can see them, fixing